Welcome to T-Boys TV. We're back again with Championship predictions. Game week 34. Yeah, I want to say it's 34. Let's get into it. So, obviously, there was midweek games. I did get one of the games spot on, which was Millwall-Burnley. Millwall, by the way, 4 points out of the last two games against the top two. Really impressive. Obviously, it beat Sheffield United before that. Drew to Burnley. And I was close on the Norwich-Birmingham game as well. I said 2-1 to Norwich. It ended up being 3-1. So I didn't do too bad in the midweek. They're the only games I got points from, but one game spot on, it's not too bad. Let's get into it. So obviously, the first game, Coventry City versus Sunderland. This is a 12:30 game tomorrow. I'm not going Birmingham away. Obviously, I'm a Luton fan. I'm not going Birmingham away, so I'll probably watch this before I watch Luton, because there's no early game in the Prem either tomorrow. So yeah, and I think this is going to be a good game. I remember Coventry had an early kickoff not too long ago against Norwich. Goals galore in that game, ended up being 4-2. I think there was like 3 goals in 25 minutes or something like that. It's when Luton played Wigan away. They're taking on Sunderland, who did have that loss to Rotherham, which I didn't expect. I thought Sunderland were going to win pretty emphatically. Given Rotherham are better at home, I just thought Sunderland would do it. The form they're on before that. Even with the injuries, like I mentioned, they're still doing bits, or they were anyway. Still in the mix for playoffs. Coventry, they're starting to sneak a few good results, Ever since the Luton game, they're unbeaten, which is the last 3 games. They beat Rotherham away. Do you know what? I can see Coventry getting something in this one. I'm not going to lie. I think this is going to be the back-to-back 2-1 defeat for Sunderland. 2-1 Coventry is my prediction for that one. Moving on to the next one. Birmingham City at St Andrews. Taking on Luton Town, obviously my team. How am I feeling going into this one? It's difficult because Birmingham do actually have a good record against us. I think they beat us like 31 times. We beat them 13 or something like that. They're unbeaten against us. I think it's the last 3 games. Obviously, last season they smashed us both times. I remember going to St Andrews, and that was just a shocking performance. Didn't help that the ball boy ran onto the pitch when it was 0-0 and, we had a chance to maybe get a goal. I'm not saying we would have, but it would have been a chance. Obviously they're the massive protests as well. They're throwing tennis balls on the pitch. I don't think that affected us. I just think it was more, when Elijah was on the counter sort of thing. Obviously last season at Kenilworth Road, we got absolutely slumped. We did play in first game of the season, which I did actually predict that we'd have in first game of the season. That was a 0-0. It was one of them where it's first game of the season, you're rusty, you're not quite there. That's how I felt from our perspective. We played all right, we just couldn't finish. Like I say, I do have a good record against us. Last time we beat them at St Andrews, I think there was no fans. I think it was 1-0. I think Potts scored. Yeah, he did actually. I remember that game. I remember watching it with my dad. This one, Birmingham not great, results as of late. So I'm feeling confident in that sense. It's just the record we have against them. We need to start picking up wins because, we are currently sitting 6th, which is still decent, but we were 4th, And if we win this, going on based on what happens in other games, we could potentially go back up to 4th. So I'm going to back us, but I think it's going to be a tight one. I'm going to go 2-1 Luton. I'll go 2-1 Luton in that one. Moving on to the next game, Bristol City versus Hull City. Now, I remember when these two sides played last season at Bristol City, the best thing about Hull was the flipping fans that turned up and were dancing when they were getting absolutely hammered. Hull recently, not been too bad, Bristol City, they've been getting some results going in. I think it's going to be a tight one, a lot tighter than it was last season. I'm going to go 1-0 Bristol City. I think Bristol City being the home team might sneak it. Moving on to the next game, High Flying Burnley taking on Huddersfield. Obviously, Burnley have had a narrow win against Luton. And then, obviously, a draw to Millwall. Taking on Huddersfield, obviously, Neil Warnock's come in. Obviously, they're playing a lot better. Got that result against Birmingham, which I did expect. I did say 2-1, and it was. I think Huddersfield fans, you'll be happy if the performance is there. You're not really going to Burnley and expecting to win. No one's beat Burnley at Burnley this season. So if anyone is thinking that, you're mad. But as long as the performance is there, I think the fans will be happy. I'm going to go, it's going to sound very high scoring and could sound one-sided, but I think Huddersfield will make it a game, but I think Burnley's quality will just shine through. I'm going to go 3-1 Burnley in that one. Moving on to the next game, Reading versus Blackpool. Could say big game, near the bottom. Reading, I think they'll have, they've got enough to stay up. Blackpool, obviously, in the relegation zone. Did get that win versus Stoke, which, was a good win. And then, obviously, they did lose midweek to Blackburn 1-0. I said 1-1. I thought they might get something there. They're taking on Reading. I don't really rate too highly. Obviously, they started the season well, but then had that drop-off, which I did expect. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to go a narrow win for Reading. I'm going to go 1-0. I don't think it's going to be anything too special in that sense. Moving on to the next game, Norwich City versus Cardiff City. Now, Norwich obviously got that win against Birmingham 3-1. Nunes, what a performance he had. That first goal was unreal. They're trying to get a push for playoffs, obviously, since Wagner's come in. If they do win this, they won't be too far at all off of playoffs. They could be a point off, depending what other teams do as well. Even if certain other teams win, etc. So it's massive for them. They're taking on Cardiff, who are not safe, but they're in a good position after getting that win against Reading on the Friday night game. This one, I do think Norwich will win this one, being at home. I'm going to go 2-0 to Norwich in that one. Moving on to the next game, Preston North End versus Wigan Athletic. Now, Preston obviously very poor at home this season, second worst team in the league at home. They're taking on Wigan, who, got an impressive draw against Norwich. I'm not going to lie, I thought they were going to lose that. Wigan, they're still trying. They're still trying. A lot of people writing them off, but they're still trying. Me personally, I do think they'll still go down, but I think they'll put a really good fight of it up. And I can see them getting something here, to be honest, given how Preston are at home as well. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw in this one. Moving on to the next game, QPR versus Blackburn Rovers. Now, obviously, QPR have appointed Ainsworth. I never thought that guy was going to leave Wycombe, how long he was there. He was a QPR player, I believe, as well, so he has got that link with them before. I think it's a decent appointment. Give him time, though. Even though I don't really care about QPR, of course. Give him time, don't be harsh on him if you don't get, results going straight away. I think it is going to be difficult because, me personally, I think there's a lot of ego players at QPR as well. They're taking on Blackburn. Blackburn very inconsistent. Blackburn are currently sitting fourth in the table somehow. I'm not going to lie. Obviously, I did get that win against Blackpool. QPR obviously not been overly great this season, as we know. They're currently sitting in 18th, which is just mad, the drop-off they had. I can see, with it being a new manager bounce, I can see them getting some sort of result. Blackburn's inconsistency as well. I'm going to go for another 1-1 draw in this one. And then moving on to the next game, Sheffield United versus Watford. Now, a couple of weeks ago, you would have thought Sheffield United were probably comfortably going to get second. And now, obviously, the last two games they've had, they haven't got results they wanted. Obviously, a loss to Middlesbrough quite heavily as well. Middlesbrough, a team that are chasing them for that second place. And then, obviously, the loss to Millwall as well. So, they're not, not doing great. They want to bounce back. They are taking on Watford, who did get that win against West Brom. Obviously, I said 1-0. I knew Watford would get some sort of result, given the goalkeeper situation at West Brom as well. This one, I think because of the pressure Middlesbrough are applying, Sheffield United will look at it, want to get a result, and I believe they will. I believe it will be a tight game, though. I'm going to go 2-1 to Sheffield United in this one. Moving on to the next game, Stoke City versus Millwall. Now, obviously, Millwall doing very well. They are currently above Luton on, it's not even goal difference. I think it's goals scored. They've scored one more goal than us. Obviously, I did get that good draw, like I said, midweek against Burnley. And obviously got that win against Sheffield United. So 4 points in their last two games against the top two is brilliant. If you're a Millwall fan, you're liking that. They're taking on Stoke City. Stoke City did get an impressive win against Swansea. Given Swansea are inconsistent, though, still, I didn't expect them to win in the manner they did. So fair play for that. But this is Millwall, who are doing very well this season and might actually get the playoffs. Usually they seem to be in the race and then they drop out. It might still happen, but if there is a time you're going to predict them to actually get in there, it could be this season, the way they're going. I think it will be tight. I think Stoke will make it tough for them, but I'm going to go 1-0 to Millwall. I think they'll just edge it in this one. And then moving on to the next game, big game this is as well. West Bromwich Albion versus Middlesbrough. Obviously, like I said, Middlesbrough chasing for that second spot. They're taking on West Brom, who still have that goalkeeper situation, which is madness. Obviously, Palmer being out, it's just not ideal. Button, they clearly understood that he's not great. I've been saying that for time. Putting in an academy goalkeeper, obviously, it's not really worked at the moment. Taking on Middlesbrough, it just seemed to be getting results. Carrick's doing very well. Like I said, they are the Nottingham Forest of last season, but they started near the bottom. Carrick's come in, and now they're fighting for second. Will they get it? I don't think so, but I think they'll make it close. I do think they'll get a result here, to be honest, given, the goalkeeper situation at West Brom as well. I'm going to go 2-1 to Middlesbrough in that one. And then moving on to the last game, the Monday night game, I believe. Swansea City versus Rotherham. Now, Swansea, obviously, like I said, have that, heavy defeat to Stoke City. They won't be too impressed with that. They're taking on Rotherham, who did beat Sunderland. Good win against Sunderland at home. Rotherham away, though, I don't really rate them as much as I do at home. Even though I did say they'd get battered to Sunderland. Usually, I predict them to get decent results at home. This one, I don't think it's going to be the greatest game. And I think with how Rotherham are away, I think Swansea might edge it in a 1-0. So, yeah, people, they are my predictions for this weekend's games. There is 2 midweek games, Luton, Millwall, and I think it's Preston, Coventry. So I'll probably do a separate video just doing the predictions on them. So, yeah, and obviously I'll do the Hat Show anyway for Luton, so I'll get more into it there. And, But, yeah, what the table would look like if results went the way I say. There you go. So, interesting. Luton would jump up to 4th. I don't actually know how we'd be above Millwall because we'd have the exact same goal difference, exact same goals scored and conceded. I think it's losses because we got 2 less losses than them. I think that's why we'd be above them. But, yeah, 4th, that's where I said we'd finish at the start of the season. So, it'd be brilliant if we could do that. I think chasing 3rd might be a big ask given how Middlesbrough are doing. Millwall obviously be below us. Blackburn, would drop down 2 places. Still be in the mix. But yeah, they'd drop down 2 places. Norwich, see what I'm saying? Like a point behind now. Watford would be 8th. Sunderland 9th. But look at the points, see what I mean? Look, Coventry even jumping up there as well. It's mad. The bottom 3, Wigan would go up. Places, but they'd still be in there. So, yeah, and that's what I mean as well with that Cardiff win. It's a massive win against Reading, which has put them even more points away, which has helped them, of course. So, yeah, people, there you go. That is the end of my championship predictions. Let me know your predictions down below in the comments. And, don't forget to smash a like on the video if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel if you are new with the notification bell on. If you want to follow me across any of my socials, link to them are in the description. Subscribe to my other channel as well, T-Boys TV Extra. Turn on the notification bell for that as well. And, I will see you lot in a bit. So take care and peace.